Well, so it's been a very, very interesting couple of days with the stories that are coming out again regarding Andrew, Harry and Meghan. So we're going to get into this because I have some questions, especially given the timeline. So I want to explore this and ask the questions that maybe should be being asked that we're not seeing in the mainstream media. And so if you're after the truth and understanding body language, behaviour, not just what's being said, but reading between those lines of what's not being said, then this could be the channel for you. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. My name is Ems, I'm a qualified UK therapist, and I use my over 20 years experience in this field to help you understand all of these things in, like I say, asking those questions that we should be asking and not just believing the clickbait news that's coming out as we see it. So if this is for you, don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to hit all on the notification bell. Go grab yourself a cuppa, sit back, relax as we get into tea with a little bit of therapeutic knowledge. So hey everyone, so of course so much has been going on as I've said, but before I get going I just want to say thank you to everybody who wished my mum a happy birthday for yesterday. Well, it's actually officially her birthday today. We had a lovely day yesterday and it was just really, really nice, and I obviously bought mummy lots of things and it's like she was very spoiled. She was queen for the day because, as I've said, I'm birthday princess, my mum is birthday queen. But today I have woken up feeling really quite under the weather. I think it took it out of me a little bit. Most of you know who've been with me from the beginning that I do suffer with a degenerative illness, and every now and again I have a flare up, and today was it was happening big time, and so I'm in a little bit of pain, so please bear with me if I'm not quite on my my usual self today. I've just literally just chucked my hair up. I just couldn't even couldn't, you have one of those days where you just cannot be bothered. I've put my face on because I don't want to scare you all, but yeah, so just please bear with me. So of course woken up this morning and it's everywhere. This news in regards to the altercation, of course I say alleged because there's no concrete proof other than this book that has been released by this author. Now, of course, what's come out is the litigious pair have decided to sue the Daily Mail for defamation because they're saying that this didn't happen. It's not true. Now, I have kind of sat with this and looked into it a little bit. Now, what confuses me, so I'm going to kind of explore some options here because I think it's important that we ask those questions, because what's interesting is that the Daily Mail, when they sort of wrote what was in this book, one, I find it interesting that Harry has sued the Daily Mail. He's not suing the author of the book. You think he would do both. It's almost like it's almost like shutting the door after the horse has bolted, because he's suing the Daily Mail for printing this excerpt from the book, but in a sense drawing more attention to the fact that he's doing this. But the Daily Mail have obviously just taken an excerpt from this book and printed it, obviously one of the more salacious things in regards to Harry and Andrew. But what's weird is they haven't picked up on the timeline. Now, is this a typo? Because I'm trying to look at it in the neutral way of, in 2013, as we know it, and we have been told publicly, Harry and Meghan were not together. They were not on each other's radar. This is what we're being told, right? 2013, she was in London around this time, though. She was doing some sort of, where she was like searching for her male man that she wanted to marry. And I think Ashley Cole was on her radar until she found out that he was a bit of a player. But it's strange because when you write, I would imagine that when you're a royal biographer or biographer of any type, when you're writing things, you would have people that would legally fact check things. You would have a team of lawyers, solicitors, etc., that would literally be going through everything and kind of going, right, yeah, yes, that's fine. No, you can't print that. This could have legal ramifications, etc., etc. So how was that date allowed to stay in the book in regards to that this was a fight that was allegedly happening between Andrew and Harry, where he said some not very nice things about Meghan, according to this book, and Harry was furious. Now, could it be that Harry and Meghan hooked up in 2013? Could it be that Andrew found out about it and was trying to warn Meghan off because he's got a personal connection? Because it's interesting to me, why would Andrew have such strong words about somebody that say, if you look at it from this example of, if he didn't even know Meghan, there was no connection whatsoever. In all of the people that Harry has had dalliances with, dated, why Meghan? Why was Meghan the one that he decided to say something about? So to me, that shows there is something there, because you just wouldn't. He never said this about Chelsea. Not that we're saying it didn't come out publicly. I mean, obviously we don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but this is enough to be in the book, and it's enough that it's drawn massive attention. So could this be that Harry and Meghan got together in 2013? He was seeing her, but it was very, very private. Now, bearing in mind that when they first started dating, we didn't know anything about this. So it's very possible that they did connect in 2013 through maybe Marcus Anderson, Soho House, but it didn't connect. So it didn't stay. I mean, I know that some people might say that they've been seeing each other ever since. I don't know if I believe that. Purely and simply because obviously she went on to date other men. And I think that we would have given how much she wanted to rush this timeline when they got together officially as such, she would have wanted to do the same thing. So at some point we would have seen that she would have wanted to bring this out in the open. So is it very possible that they had a connection then, but it didn't go anywhere, but then she set her sights on almost like then trying to entrap him? But even though she was dating other men at the time, I think Corey Vitiello, I'm sure there was other people as well. But so it just seems a bit strange to me that this was kind of happening and this has been brought up. Because if you're going to say a date, firstly, why 2013? The fact that Meghan was in London around this time is odd. It's not like she was somewhere else completely in a different country to Harry, so it makes it less plausible. She wasn't. She was over here quite a lot. The fact that this has been put in this book, and the fact that Harry is suing for defamation, but he's suing in regards to the argument. He's suing saying that this altercation never happened, but no query on the date. Or is it? Now, the other potential that I thought is perhaps that the argument was a separate issue and then they've got the dates confused. But that seems a bit of a weird thing as well, because if this fight happened, then it's a story that's still true. So, but Harry's coming out and he's suing the Daily Mail for printing the story, but he's not suing the author of the book. So I find that quite interesting. So I think that it goes to, like I say, the credibility of what this story is. Now, when I was looking into things, I actually asked ChatGPT because, we have a thing. I ask quite a few questions every now and again. And one of the things I said was, is it possible that they had a connection in 2013? And ChatGPT said, yes, this could be possible, but they sort of kept it private. Obviously, that I appreciate that ChatGPT is only going to have the knowledge that it's got. But then I said, could there be things that are scrubbed from the internet? Now, of course, I know the answer, but I just wanted to sort of see it black and white. And this is what it come up with, which was very interesting to me, because there was something that I didn't know, which was how things can be scrubbed from the internet. So when we do a search, nothing comes up. And we know that there was sort of rumours going around that when Meghan first joined the royal family, that a lot of her past was scrubbed from the internet. Now, of course, I'm not naive, and I understand that this is how the way the world is now. Things do get scrubbed. If they want something gone, they will make sure it's gone. But it's also that if you type it in, it's like nothing comes up. And so I wonder if whatever connection there was to, say, possibly Andrew and Meghan, this was all completely scrubbed, like any photographs, because I know there's a couple of weird photographs that have gone around which show Andrew and this woman that looks like Meghan. I don't believe that's her. The body shape is not the same. And I do think it's important, like I say, that we keep to the truth as much as possible, as much as sometimes I look at something and want that to be the truth. If it isn't, it isn't. Do I think there's a connection? Absolutely. And if you haven't seen my Prince Andrew, which I did, a couple of years ago maybe, on here, I did a video on this where I was contacted by somebody and I asked some questions, and I do absolutely believe them to be true. So obviously I did the video on that. And I do absolutely believe that she had a connection to Andrew. And I do believe that it was connected to certain circles that she was in. Now, again, I'm being very careful because I know that things get flagged on YouTube, and I always say that this is alleged. I have got no concrete proof of this. This is just my thoughts and opinions given by the research that I have done and just what I know about human beings. So I believe it's very possible then that when he started dating her, that of course Andrew would have been very, very angry about this, because he would not want her connected to the royal family. He would know. Calling her an opportunist, that's quite a distinctive thing to say. Why would you say that of somebody that perhaps you don't know? You wouldn't just say that that person's an opportunist. You don't know. Unless he does. Unless he does know that she's already tried it with him, it didn't work, so she now made a beeline for Harry. Now, maybe the circle wasn't, in the sense that it wasn't sort of connecting for them back then, but I think that then it probably got in her head that she was going to make a beeline for him and she was going to wait for the right opportunity, which is why I think that she stalked him in a roundabout way. She would turn up to places he was at, she would be where he is, and I definitely think that Soho House is a big part of this, and I do believe Marcus Anderson is connected in there somewhere. It is not a coincidence to me that also Omid Scobie, who was allegedly, he had sort of a relations with Marcus Anderson, there was a connection there, that suddenly he came out of nowhere. When Meghan got together with Prince Harry, all of a sudden Omid Scobie was like the person that everyone was talking to. He was like calling himself a royal reporter. And he was kind of very instrumental in the very beginning of like firing up the cult squad and things like that. All of a sudden now, weirdly, if you notice, Meghan, we never really see any association with Marcus Anderson now. And along with that, Omid Scobie has literally gone off the radar. There's like, he's disappeared. He might be on, I don't know if he's on X still twittering away, but I'm not there, so I don't know. But generally speaking, we're not really seeing him being interviewed. There's not really anything to do with him. But if you look at early things, it's like there was a picture of him, I think it was 2012. And if I can find it, because I've got such a backlog of photographs, if I can find it, I will put it up here. And it's a picture of him and Meghan. So he knew her. And I think that this is the connection with Marcus Anderson. So is it very possible that this was orchestrated way back then and they sort of made it a plan to get Harry, in a sense, if you like to make a beeline for him? I'm not sure if I believe that this story is a lie. Now, it's possible, like, let's look at this objectively. It's very possible the date is wrong. And it wasn't 2013, say it was 2018, say, or 2016. Because they talk about his wife. Now, obviously they married in 2018. Now, is it very possible that someone looked at that, saw 2018 and just maybe didn't have their glasses on and put 2013? Yes, of course, that's very possible. But even if that's the case, then you can say, all right, I still think that she was trying to get him before that, but it still doesn't say that it's not true. And it still goes to the fact that Andrew felt passionate enough to call out the relationship of Harry and Meghan, calling her an opportunist. And like I say, it is really bizarre that he personally would feel very strongly about this. So even if you take the year and say they made a mistake, it doesn't state that, you know, so this story could still have happened. So I just want to say quickly, please don't forget to hit the like button. Please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future uploads. And please click all on the notification bell, because it does tell YouTube that I am a channel worth keeping. Especially in this day and age when we struggle with the truth and clickbait and gossip, it's really important, I feel, that we try to keep the channels that are trying to find the truth of a situation, you know, to keep going. And I hope that you guys by now see that I am a channel that tries to find you the truth. If you want to support the channel in further ways, there are ways to do that. All the links are in the description box below. You can join me on other platforms, especially if this channel goes down. I will need to find other platforms to be able to carry on what I'm doing. So if that goes down, then you can at least find me on Facebook, TikTok or Instagram. If you want to buy my bubble merchandise, you can. If you want to treat me to a cuppa, you can. There's my Amazon wish list. You can contact me via my PO box, email me. You can become a member, you can super chat. There's lots of ways to support the channel to create YouTube to feel that not only that I am a channel worth keeping, but also the fact that you are helping support the free therapy program that I am running, which is what I use the YouTube situation for, and any other means where I can potentially help other people who are struggling financially. I just want to say thank you so much for all of your support. It really, really does mean so much to me. And to date, just to clarify, I have worked with 54 people so far on the free therapy program. So it is working and you guys are paying it forward. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And please, let's keep this going. And not only that, to get me to my 100,000 subscribers so I can get my plaque, please. Anyway, back to the main video. So the other thing as well is that obviously we know that a while back in one of the books that was spoken about was also when Harry spoke about Prince William attacking him, ripping off his necklace, which is a really bizarre thing to say because most men don't say necklace, they say chain. So it's really bizarre that he would mention that, which sometimes leads me to feel that Meghan wrote some of this, so she would refer to it as a necklace because obviously she's female. And so ripping off this necklace because apparently William attacked him in regards to, again, Meghan. Do we see a pattern forming here? And apparently punched him and he dropped into the dog bowl and you know, and broke the dog bowl. And of course, lots of things were coming out around that at the time, which was kind of like, wait, hang on a minute. We've seen a picture of the kitchen. It's like, this seems a bit weird. The dog bowl wasn't even something that was, I think, breakable, maybe. I don't know. There was lots of weird things that were coming out around that. But I think what we're seeing as a pattern is, I think, if anything, it's Harry is volatile. And I've said this before. I have said he has got a temper on him. He is volatile. I don't see William as someone who would just attack. Now, Harry, I do. He's reactionary, he's volatile. We have seen the way he behaves. We have seen him when he's been in polo matches. We have seen what he's done, smashing his polo stick on the floor. He gets angry very quickly. We don't see that in William. So what I do believe happened is that William was having a conversation with Harry, possibly asking him to take it easy with Meghan, saying that, you know, it's moving too fast, etc., etc. Harry lost his temper and he went for William, and William probably defended himself, pushed him off, and Harry fell back and fell into the dog bowl or whatever it was. So this is what I think has happened. I think it's Harry that is the one that's attacking, because the fact is, again, we have him attacking Andrew. Now, again, I'm not saying that this did happen. I don't know. I wasn't there. But it does show when you've got two stories about someone being attacked, and one of them where it says that Harry attacked Andrew, again for Meghan. Then we have another situation where Harry is saying that William attacked him. Why would William attack him? If William is the one that is saying, you need to calm down, you need to take things slower, this is, we're rushing this, you don't really know this woman. And then what? He decided to attack Harry because of that? But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't track. So what does make sense is that Harry was so angry in what was being said, so he attacked William, and William, to defend himself, pushed him off, and he fell back, and that's when he went down. But of course, in Harry's mind, it's again taking no accountability. It's like, no, this didn't happen. I was the innocent party in this, and I was just so awful. He was just so awful and mean about Meghan, and so he just attacked me. And I think this is probably a lot to do with why William is so deeply angry with Harry, not just because of the way he's been in general, but the lies that he has said about his brother. Because William will know the truth. He will know that this version is not true. So it's the fact that he's openly lied like this so publicly to make him out to be the bad guy. You've only got to look at the way Harry behaves. And again, I always go back to this. Look at behaviour. It's not what somebody says. It's the way they behave. If you look at Harry's track record and you look at William's, I'm not saying that William doesn't get angry. He's a human being. I'm sure he does. But look at the difference. We have seen Harry lose his temper many times publicly. And now we have another story where he's attacked his uncle. Do I believe that this is conceivably possible? Yes, I do. Can I see Harry doing this? Absolutely. But it's weird again that the person in the middle, which is why I put there in the thumbnail, is because she's literally there, like rubbing her hands with glee. She's caused all of this. Now, I'm not saying that Harry's blameless, because he's absolutely not. But when you have a narcissistic personality type in the background, sowing those seeds of doubt, manipulating, gaslighting, creating you to feel that your whole family is against you, it's incredibly damaging. For many of us who have been witness to a narcissist, we know what they're capable of. They are capable of turning you against people that you absolutely loved and adored. When I was dating mine, he nearly turned me against my mum. It's like I had, like all young people at certain points, we have disagreements with our parents. It's like, having a disagreement, and then it's like sowing those seeds of doubt. And thankfully, again, because I know myself well enough and I know my mum, it's like it didn't work. But there was a flicker of a moment when it could have done. And so if you imagine then someone like Harry, who to me is very susceptible to manipulation, I don't think he really knows who he is. I don't think he knows what he's doing. So when you have someone like Meghan that comes along and she twists and turns things, and I think she absolutely manipulated the whole situation to create him to feel that his whole family was not just against her, but him too. And this is how she formulated, once she realized that the royal family were no longer bowled over by her, she was not able to manipulate the late Queen or manipulate William or manipulate Catherine. I think there was probably a time when she was probably more able to manipulate Prince Charles as he was back then. But Camilla, I think she would have been very much like, I see you. And of course, we all know that Camilla is like King Charles's rock. Queen Camilla is his rock. So I think she would have been like, you need to be very careful of this person. So once she started to see that she could no longer manipulate the situation, that she was not the be-all and end-all that she believed that she was. And the interesting also thing that's, I think when she said about when she first met Andrew, she was like, oh, who's that? That is weird, because even if you didn't have a personal connection to him, he's everywhere. Come on. So you would know who he is. So that says something to me as well. Also, being called in the Virginia Giuffre case. Why would you be called in a case that should have nothing to do with you, because at that point you hadn't even been in the family that long? But her specifically, and when I asked ChatGPT, get it right, it stated that the reason she was being called is because of the circles she moved in prior to meeting Harry. Now that is very, very telling to me. So that come up, me asking ChatGPT, why was she being called if she didn't know any of them? How is it that she was being called as a witness? And it states, and I'll put it up here, that she was being called because of the circles that she run in before meeting Harry. Now, of course, nothing concrete is being said, because I think, and this is why I asked about the things being scrubbed from the internet, is it possible that any connection that she had with Andrew was scrubbed from the internet? And I believe this is very, very possible. So if you then write the timeline, it's Meghan and Andrew connect, something happens there, because, and I'll say go and watch the video that I did, because if I can find it, I will put it up at the end of this video. But it's basically where something happened and she tried to entrap him. He saw through her and shut it down, and he stopped taking her calls. And so I think then she then decided, right, I want revenge, because as we know with a narcissist, you do not let go of someone that's a narcissist. You do not say no. You do not reject them in any way or do anything to slight them, because then it becomes this is like a narcissistic wound. And then it's like, okay, I want revenge. I want to get you. And so this is what I think that she did. And so I think along the way, then she connected with Harry. It didn't quite work out the first time, but she was still there with it, formulating a plan. And so then she started to stalk him and try to maneuver in the same circles as him, dating Corey Vitiello to make sure that she had this connection to Soho House and the Mulroneys and all of that. It opened up those circles for her, and she got the connection with Harry. And I think then early on, she ensnared him very early on with some form, whether it be the fake pregnancy or some other means that she ensnared him. And I think that this is what has been going on behind the scenes. And when I say that I think that she has leverage, I think that she has got something on Harry, whether it is the truth regarding the boy. And I'm going to get into the boy because this felt too big to me, but I want to talk about obviously the recent things that have come out in regards to the boy that we are being told is Archie, and obviously their appearance on the beach, etc. So I'm going to talk about that because I have some thoughts and theories on that too. So that's going to be coming in the next video. But yeah, so this one, I think that this is where the timeline is. And I think then she orchestrated this setup with Harry. She got her claws into him, and then she maneuvered in those circles. And I think Andrew obviously found out, and he was furious, and this is why I truly believe that she has done these little digs, like exposing the pretend pregnancy on, I always get confused with the two of them, with Eugenie and Beatrice's wedding. That was intentional. You don't do that as a woman. You know that. You don't do that unless you are really nasty. You want revenge. It's like the fact that she brought in them very early on. And I think it's because she knew that she could use it as leverage. It's like if I say that I'm friends with one of them, if I can say, oh yes, Fergie helped me with the curtsy, when actually then when Fergie was interviewed, she's like, oh, I think I met her briefly a couple of times, one time, I don't even know her. So, but yeah, according to them, they sat down and they had tea and they all really connected. And I think she drops these things in because in a way it's almost like she's saying, I dare you to come back and say something different, because I know that there was something between me and Andrew, and I could expose that. Now, I think that it would make her look just as bad, but I think that she would come out acting like the victim. So I think that this is what she's been doing all along. I think she's been playing this very long game from way back. And I think that just unfortunately, Harry just didn't want to hear it. And here we are now. So yeah, I mean, this is just my thoughts and opinions on this. I think that, do I think the story is true? Yeah, I do. I find it very strange that somebody, especially when you're writing about the royal family, And especially given how controversial Andrew is and how litigious Harry and Meghan are, why would you write a story that's not true? And it's quite specific. Like, it's not that, you know, he hit Andrew and that's it. It was like he hit Andrew and gave him a bloody nose. You know, it's quite specific in detail. So the timeline, I don't know. That's the only thing that just is a red flag to me. So it is either they got the date wrong, the year wrong, and that's a typo in the book, but again, it's interesting that that's not what they're suing for. It's not about the timeline. It's about the actual event itself. Or did she connect with Harry in 2013 and just we were not told about it? And this has been them perhaps having little secret dates ever since. Maybe they have hooked up from time to time. And then she decided that she wanted more, and maybe the fact that he was unfaithful, possibly, we know that he's a player. So was he having something with her whilst he was seeing the women that he was dating at the time? And maybe that's what she's also got, you know, all this stuff on him. She's like, I'll expose the truth. I'll expose everything. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, none of us are there, but we can only go by the way that we have come to know about the two of them, the way that they're dishonest, the way that they behave. So am I more inclined to believe that he's aggressive to Andrew? Yeah, I am. I mean, Andrew, he's, you know, he might be not a very nice person, and he's certainly a philanderer, and he's certainly got up to things that are very questionable, and his association with a certain person is very, very, you know, is very questionable. You know, do I think that he's I mean, is he a shady character? Yes. I think it's a shame because he did do good, and it's a shame that all of that is now being overshadowed. Do I think that he did what he did with Virginia Giuffre? Actually, no, I don't. I don't think that he did, but I don't know. I feel like he was being used as a scapegoat. I think there's a lot of big names on that list, and every time you home in on Andrew, it's almost like it deflects away from other people that were part of that list. You know, there's going to be some big influential people on there that are not going to want to come out. So yeah, I do think there's something more going on, and I'm obviously going to be careful because I don't want to say too much more than that. So, but I do think that the fact that she was being brought as a witness is very, very interesting. Yeah. And like I say, it says that she was mixing in certain circles. I think we know what those circles are anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something that you've thought of that I haven't thought of? Because that's also very possible, you know, because I'm not privy to every little bit of information. And as most of you know, I do work full time, so it's really hard for me to keep up with everything. But I do try, and I do try to bring you the truth as much as I possibly can. So yeah, so that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like this video on your way out, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future uploads, and click all on the notification bell. And remember, all of the links are in the description box below. And yeah, so that's it. So I'll see you in the next video. And as always, you know that I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.